How's it going? A theme that seems to be arising for myself and for a few people that I'm doing queen work and healing work with is the duality, the reflection, the opposite of prison planet or playground. So that's what this video is about. Now, I believed the prison planet thing, bought into the archons. I researched the archons and the reptilians, demons, all that kind of stuff. And I bought into the idea that all these things, I've written my first ayahuasca journey was full of purging of demonic entities and encountering them. And most of my ceremonies, if not all, have been, I'd say all, from holotropic breath work to Cambo I received 2 weeks ago, which is a frog medicine or frog poison. DMT a few weeks ago, ayahuasca a few times, even everything except MDMA, which I took in ceremony. Even LSD I would purge in and would be, in some cases, extremely aggressive and demonic. Initially, I bought into the idea and theory that these things were attacking me, attached to me, feeding off me. And my understanding was, as I learned more of who I am and the strength of my light, the power that I have access to, that these things were trying to drag me down or kill me. And early on, I was surprised that I had survived, to be honest, with the amount of things that I encountered, the amount of things that I purged, and the weight of them, the strength of them, and aggression. And then I suppose bit by bit over the months, I would say that I spend a lot of my time when I can in contemplation. Free time is spent watching people, not in a creepy way, just people watching, watching the sea, reading, journaling, writing, and just being still and just observing and just contemplating what this means, what's going on, and allowing that space, that void for guidance and direction to come through and understanding. And bit by bit, I began to see and consider the theory that these things were not attacking me at all, that they were invited in, and that they are reflections of me, they are pieces of me. And bit by bit, through very recent ceremonies in the last few months, this was confirmed to me in an ayahuasca ceremony. It was really, I spent the whole night I did purge, and I would see these things and encounter these beings, but I had the awareness, and I thanked them for their work with me, that, to, as I've said before, to become the great warrior, if you want to become, let's say, a great knight or a soldier, you're not going to engage priests or meditators. You're going to engage a bit of everything, and angry, violent beings and fighters and people who can teach you something. And you can take degrees of what they have and learn from them. So that's what we do. That's how we flesh ourselves out and colour ourselves in and get the whole picture and experience of consciousness, or man or woman or whatever it is that we have to impart to others. So we invite in, we contract with, we engage with the darkness, with demons or reptilians or whatever you want to call them, to learn from them, and we teach each other. And then when the contracts are up and the time is up, we move them on, or they move on themselves. As our energy raises and our vibration raises, there's no food for them and there's no more work for them. We're now strong enough. So we may invite into our world a bully, in the workplace, and that bully will put pressure on us perhaps abuse us and push us around a bit, and hopefully, ideally, eventually, in that workplace or another situation or another life, we're strong enough to stand up to that bully. And as soon as we stand up to that bully, he's gone or she's gone. They can't take advantage of it. They'll go find someone else. They leave themselves. I would wonder, I'll give 2 examples. I'll go into more detail in these down the line. I recorded a video months back. I think it's called Everything is Perfect. And it really is my belief and understanding that everything is unfolding perfectly. And a few days after I recorded that, I had a day of chaos where everything seemed to be going wrong. Someone said to me, laughed and said, "You're being tested." And then I realized, and the penny dropped, I am being tested. Do I still think everything is perfect? Can I let go and see the perfection in it? Now, very recently, I saved a lot of money for me, and I bought a van. 4 or 5 days before I bought this van, I was in an ayahuasca ceremony, and I was shown what I said earlier, that I contracted with all these, that they're all my reflection, that I engage with them, that I'm not a victim, there is no victims, that we engage with these experiences, we contract to learn from them, not to cry victim. I had a wonderful experience, and 3, 4, 5 days later I come out and I put all my money into a second-hand van, and I drive the van away. Within 10 minutes of driving a van away, the van died, completely dead. Now, I won't give you the whole story, but in the space of about 6 days, I lost almost all my money. No van, gone. And for those who do know and don't know, I live in my car. So the van was important. It was extremely important. But I knew that was the right van to buy. I knew I was meant to buy it. And I very quickly had to learn and accept and contemplate, have I created this situation, or am I a victim? Do I have to call solicitors or heavies with baseball bats, or do I take responsibility? And the sooner I could take responsibility and make peace with that situation and learn from it, the sooner I could get free of it and move on. So I was tested. Now my point is, if we think that we're being attacked, I think we need to look at what are we putting out in the world. How are we communicating with people? What are we passing on? Because maybe it's not attacks. Maybe it's a challenge. Maybe it's a test. We're being tested. Can we put our force and our being behind the words and the actions that we're communicating? Or does it suit us only at certain times to believe that, everything is my reflection, everything is perfect, but my van was stolen and I'm actually a victim and people have attacked me and blah, blah, blah? Or do you have the strength? Do you have the power and the courage to actually take responsibility for whatever you deem to be an attack? Or can you contemplate? Can you be still long enough with enough courage to look at that situation and see, why have I drawn this in? What's the lesson in this? And am I strong enough to face it and to get through it, to learn from it, to move through it stronger? I might have less money, my ego might be dented. That's okay. Any of these things pass. It's the spirit that grows in strength. So if it's a prison planet, we're victims, we're being preyed upon, we're in a zoo. And I did believe that for some time, that we were in a zoo and that parasites could land on us like the Matrix and feed off us. I don't believe that anymore. We draw them in to make us stronger. We draw them in to do battle, to fight. Fight's even the wrong word. To do battle, to be tested and pushed. Great boxers or fighters or Conor McGregor or whoever, Floyd Mayweather, whoever you want to look at, they draw in the best people to fight them, to push them and challenge them to be stronger. They don't bring in the weakest, nicest, friendly people. So if your higher self wants you to learn a lesson of a certain area, be it wealth or be it strength or be it healing or integrity, whatever it is, it's going to draw in experiences that really test you in those areas again and again and again. It's like the battered wife who moves on and who meets another man who just abuses her again and again. And we on the outside wonder, why does she keep doing this? Why do these women keep picking these abusive men? And they're drawing them in so they eventually get the lesson. And eventually, whatever that lesson represents to them, I'm not going to put labels on it. And then they can move on, stronger, wiser. It's a prison to those who are powerless and who are victims. There are rules and laws and tools that we can make use of here. Some people are having a great time on this planet. And if you consider that we all chose to be here, so I'm speaking to supposedly spiritual people. And there are a lot of spiritual people who say they hate it here and they don't want to be here anymore. And I spent most of my life not wanting to be here. But my understanding is that this life now is one of many for me of doing this work. This is just the beginning. And a lot of people I'm working with, I feel that that's their case too. So loads of us think we want to be done here, we want to move on, and maybe we will. But this is an incredible planet, and humans and our spirits are incredible, incredibly powerful. So we could have incredible experiences here. It's possible to be free without being pushed around by the state or the terrorists or the media or whatever. You've only got to watch something like The Secret to see there are some of those people, if not all of them, some of them are genuine. And they live pretty good lives. They're pretty free. They're not watching the news every day, and they're not worried about terrorists or Trump or whoever it is. And that's the way to be. Healthy, happy, doing your own thing. Get on with your life. Enjoy it. So at the end, I suppose the question is are you spiritual? Do you have potential to be a warrior? Do you feel that that's attracts you or within you? Do you believe that you are God? Do you believe that you have great potential within you? And if you do any of those, well, maybe it's time to begin to take responsibility for that and act and just contemplate a little of it. It doesn't mean in the next 10 minutes you have to act like you are God for the rest of your life. It's just an idea. It's something to test, see what happens, see where it goes. So I'm going to read a few quotes from Bringers of the Dawn, Teachings from the Palladians by Barbara Marciniak, I think is her name. And this was one of the things, this book was sowing seeds around the time that I was starting to realize that I have created these entities and engage with them. So she says, "You are battling yourself. The battle of light and dark and good and evil is only between portions of yourself." On to another quote. "You are leading yourselves towards the realization that you are your enemy." Now, I think in other articles I've mentioned some quotes from Carl Jung, who also talks about the shadow and about this darkness is us. It's not separate from us. So she goes on to say, "Many of the forms that you have chosen to incarnate within would look very foreign and be very frightening to you. Yet this is how you have evolved your soul. You do not incarnate in only one species. You are travelers. As you are in disguise as humans, you may be in disguise as lizards or something else. You do this so that you can unite yourself to understanding the essence of Prime Creator through a variety of species that seemingly have nothing in common." And one more, she says, "These energies and entities that seemingly are of incredible darkness, and to understand that they are coming to merge with you because they are you. They are part of your multidimensional self, and you are the standard bearer, and you are the light. Dark will come to light." So I understand that there's different levels of perception. So some people want to be victim. there's nothing wrong with that. That's going to be their experience. They're going to live out this lifetime as a victim. That's okay. I've done it. We've all done it many times, and we continue to do it in different aspects. That's one level. Then there might be the level that, no, I'm being attacked by entities. We might write books about that. We might work and we might believe that this is a prison planet. That's our message. That's okay. Then there's another level to say, okay, we're consciousness. And we are all of these things. And we're just experiencing ourselves. There's nothing wrong. And this is just a game. This is just a computer game. And I'm not going to get too wrapped up in any of it. I'm not going to get too carried away or stressed about the darkness or high with the light. And to see it all as one. That's my message. That's just where I feel at the moment is right for me. That's what I believe. That's what sits with me. And I realize in doing that I have great potential, that I am God, that I am consciousness, and that I'm surrounded by my light family and my light beings, as we all are, that we can engage for protection and for help and to help us through. And also, I'll finish up by saying that, in one or two of my ceremonies, I also did see, I was shown the light becoming darkness. So if you imagine your best friend, and imagine the two of you pass on from this life, and your best friend's another spirit and you're a spirit, and you decide, listen, I want to learn what courage is. Will you help me learn courage? And your best friend says, yeah, I'll come back. And you make a contract, and the two of you come back to Earth, and your best friend might come back as your worst enemy, as someone who really abuses you, really tests you. And they're playing a role. They're pushing you to engage with your core strength, to find who you are. And maybe you might not get it for many lifetimes, and eventually you will. But you'll pass on. The two of you will pass on, and you'll have a little meeting, and your best friend will say, okay, I did what I could. And you'll say, yeah, thanks for that. I didn't quite get it. Let's have another go. And we'll go back, and your best friend will do that again. That's what's happening. So this darkness and these dark beings are parts of us which are split into parts of, different people. It's all consciousness. They're not evil or bad or preying on us. They're pushing us. They're making us stronger. We can fight back, or we can be a victim. So that's it. If that was any interest or any use to people, sign up for the newsletter. Thanks for listening.